All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to teach you how to play a bass line in your left hand, and we're going to combine that with the chords in the right hand. All right? So a bass line, that's what we're playing low, and we're trying to make our left hand sound like a bass player. Okay? So here's a scoop. In the right hand, when we play the C chord, this right here is middle C. It's almost in the middle of your piano or keyboard, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go 1 C down, 2 C's down to start our bass line, because in order to sound like a bass player, we want to be low on the piano. All right? Here's a scoop. When we play, we're going to play the notes that are in the chord. When we hit that, that sounds horrible. And the reason being, we're too low here. So if we're low on the piano, the idea is you want to play fewer notes at one time. So the less notes you play at one time, the better. So what we're going to do is we're going to play notes in our C chord, but we're playing the notes separately. That way it sounds better, right? So here's a scoop. In our right hand, when we play the C chord, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're holding it down for 4 counts, right? Left hand, 1, 2, 3. Ooh, run into a little bit of an issue. When we play the C chord, we have 3 notes, but we don't have 4 beats, so we need to add something to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the notes in the C chord. We're going to add the next white key higher. Okay? Now here's my fingering. I'm using the 5th finger, the middle finger, which is finger number 3. I'm going to take finger number 2, stretch that a little bit so I can play the G, and that way I have my first finger free to play the A. All right. And notice again, when I play, I'm letting the previous notes that I hit go. Otherwise, it's not going to sound good, because you're going to start getting the tones meshing into each other in the low registers like that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play the C chord in the right hand, the C in the left hand at the same time. Hold the chord down while we play the rest of the notes on the bass line. Okay, so that's going to be our C bass line and chords. Now for the F, right hand, we're going to jump up here and play the F chord, right? Left hand, what we'll do is we'll come up and play the F here. And remember, the F is number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same concept. So we're going to play the notes that are in the F chord plus the next white key higher for our left hand. Okay, so the notes in the F chord plus the next key, next white key higher. Same concept, we'll play both hands together. Keep the right hand down. Okay, so that's my F chord and bass line. We got one more to learn, the G chord and the bass line. So the G chord is this here, right? G bass line, same concept. We play the notes in the chord plus the next white key higher. Okay? So that's the G chord and bass line there. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you a format now called the 12-bar blues. And once we get through this format here, I'm going to teach you to play it a couple of different ways. We're going to keep all the chords the same, but I'm going to teach you to change the rhythm. All right? So let me go ahead and play it for you right now, and then I will break it down. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's our actual blues progression, 12-bar blues progression. So let me go ahead and play it for you, or teach you how to play it. But what I want to do is, we learned about the letter names of the chords, right? The C chord, C bass line, F chord, F bass line, G chord, G bass line, right? We can actually think of these chords in the right hand in terms of numbers also. All right? So we're in the key of C, right? Because we have the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? So the first chord, the C chord, we started on the first note to play that, right? So since we started on the first note, that can be called the one chord. Now, when we refer to chords in numbers, we usually use Roman numerals, okay? So this is the one chord. Then we have F, 1, 2, 3, 4. So since we're starting on F and playing an F chord, we're starting on the fourth note, right? So this can be called the 4 chord. And then for the G chord, we're starting on the fifth note, so that can be called the 5 chord. And the numbers of these chords are how they relate to the key of C that we are playing in. All right? So what we got, when we start, we're playing the one chord 4 times. Each one we're holding down for 4 counts. That's why we're walking the bass line while we're holding the chord down. Okay, so that's 1 time. We got to do that 4 times. Then 2, 3, 4. All right. So when we start off, we're playing that C chord and bass line 4 times. Then we're going to jump to the 4 chord, play that 2 times. Then we're going to go back to the 1 chord and play that 2 times. Okay, so let's just do that much. So we're going to start with the 1 chord. We're going to play that 4 times. Then we're going to jump to the 4 chord, play that 2 times. Then we're going to go back to the 1 chord and play that 2 times. All right? So play it with me. So you ready? Here we go. I'm going to count off 4 beats first. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3 for the second time. Third time. Fourth time. Now after this, we're going to jump to F and do that twice. Second time. Go back to the C chord. Do that twice. Okay. After that, we're going to come up here to the 5 chord of the G chord and do that once. 4 chord once. Okay. So when we start at the beginning, we're going to play the C chord 4 times. Going to jump to the F chord, do that twice. Go back to the C chord, do that twice. Go to the G chord once. F chord once. All right, so play it with me. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Second time. Third. Fourth time. Now we're going to jump to F and do that twice. Back to C and do that twice. G 1 time. F 1 time. C twice. And then let's do it one last time to end it. Now you notice that time we actually added the C chord, because when we were at the F chord, the G chord, when we came here, you can probably hear that it goes back here, which is what we did, okay? Let me just slide this mouse back up there. And I think what we will do is, let's play it all the way through from the beginning, all right? And don't worry, I'll call the chords out as we're playing it. There we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Second time. Third. Fourth. Let's jump up to F and do that twice. Back to the C chord or the 1 chord, do that twice. Now we're going to go to the 5 chord, the G chord, do that once. And the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord. And then let's end it by adding 1 more chord. All right? So that's our format. So that's called a 12-bar blues, because if you count all the times that we played the chords and bass lines, they add up to the number 12. And then what we did to end it, we actually threw in a 13th chord, or a 13th bar, so to say, so for an ending. That way it sounded like an ending. All right? So anyway, that's our 12-bar blues. And what we did, we played it, you notice, where we're just walking one note on each beat in the left hand, right? So what I do is I classify that as a swing style because it's reminiscent of the big band era, where the bass players used to walk a lot of notes, one on each beat. All right? So we call that a swing style. So what I'm going to do in the next lesson is I'm going to teach you how to play it 2 different ways. I'm going to show you a rock and roll style, and then I'm going to show you a popular music style that's reminiscent of the rhythm and blues style from the 70s. All right? So stay tuned for the next lesson.